Can a computer from 2006 actually run Adobe Creative Cloud 2024? We're talking Photoshop, Premiere Pro, After Effects, the heavy artillery of modern creativity. Most people would instantly laugh and say, absolutely not. But today, we're putting that claim to the ultimate test. We are reviving a true legend, the Intel Core 2 Duo, and challenging it to take on Adobe ES 2024 powerhouse apps. Will it crash and burn? Or will it rise from the ashes to prove that old silicon still has a spark left in it? Stick around, because the results might just blow your mind. Let's rewind the clock. It's 2006. YouTube is barely a year old. Facebook still requires a college email. And Apple just unveiled the very first MacBook. In the tech world, the Intel Core 2 Duo drops like a bombshell. Dual-core processors were the future. And suddenly, multitasking felt futuristic. You could edit a photo while listening to music without your system catching fire. For its time, this chip was revolutionary. It powered office desktops, gaming rigs, even creative workstations. Many of us remember that smooth hum of the Core 2 Duo system booting up. Reliable, simple, and unbreakable. Fast forward nearly 2 decades later, the Core 2 Duo has become nostalgia personified. It's the grandparent of today's CPUs, slow by modern standards, but a reminder of where it all began. So naturally, we had to ask, what happens if you throw 2024 software at 2006 hardware? Can this relic even boot modern Adobe apps? Or will it just beg for retirement? Our test system is as authentic as it gets. We dug out an original Intel Core 2 Duo E6600, clocked at 2.4 GHz. It's running on an LGA 775 motherboard with 4 GB of DDR2 RAM and an ancient 160 GB hard drive. No SSD, no modern GPU, just pure, old-school computing. We installed Windows 10 64-bit, the lightest version we could manage, and spent half a day praying the drivers would actually work. Spoiler, some didn't. It took several reboots, a couple of BIOS tantrums, and a very patient coffee break to get this old beast ready for action. But after hours of troubleshooting, it booted. And not just booted, it ran. That's when things got interesting. We decided to go all in. Instead of testing one app, we'd run the holy trinity of creativity. Photoshop 2024 for heavy layer work, filters, and editing. Premiere Pro 2024 for real-time video editing and rendering. Illustrator 2024 for vector performance and precision drawing. Each of these apps comes with terrifying system requirements. A modern multi-core CPU with at least 8 cores, 16 GB or more of RAM, a GPU with 4 GB of VRAM, and fast SSD storage. Our Core 2 Duo? 2 cores, 4 gigs, no GPU acceleration. This was never meant to happen. But we're doing it anyway. To keep this fair, we set up 3 key performance metrics for each app: launch and load time, responsiveness, and render or export time. We also monitored CPU usage, RAM consumption, and temperature behavior. Basically, if this CPU could talk, we'd expect a lot of screaming. The moment we clicked Open Photoshop, time slowed down. The splash screen appeared, and stayed there, and stayed. After nearly 3 full minutes, the interface loaded. That might sound painful, but the fact that it loaded at all was jaw-dropping. Once inside, we tried opening a 1080p image file with multiple layers. Simple tools like crop, brightness, and paintbrush. Surprisingly responsive. But once we applied filters, Gaussian blur, smart sharpen, everything went into slow motion. Even zooming in felt like watching molasses pour uphill. Still, it worked. The program didn't crash. In fact, with enough patience, you could technically edit a thumbnail or design something simple. The Core 2 Duo passed the Can It Run test for Photoshop, but just barely. Next up, Premiere Pro 2024, the heavyweight of creative software. This one was brutal. Opening the program alone took over 5 minutes, and importing a 1080p clip froze the system twice before stabilizing. Timeline playback was an absolute nightmare. Even a 10-second clip stuttered, dropped frames, and turned into a slideshow. Color correction? Forget it. Rendering? Grab a snack, or maybe take a walk. A 1-minute 1080p render that takes 2 minutes on a modern i7 system took over an hour and 20 minutes on the Core 2 Duo. The CPU hit 100% usage for the entire render time. The fan screamed. The system nearly overheated. And yet, it finished. When that Export Complete dialog popped up, it felt like watching an underdog win a championship. After all that chaos, Illustrator was like a quiet walk after a thunderstorm. It opened in under 2 minutes, impressive considering its siblings. Working with basic shapes, text, and logos was smooth enough to be called usable. Vector graphics don't demand the same kind of power as video rendering, so the Core 2 Duo held its own here. It struggled with high-resolution exports and complex paths, but overall, Illustrator 2024 was the most functional of the bunch. The Core 2 Duo showed that for light creative work, it still got a little gas left in the tank. Photoshop. Around 3 minutes to launch. Usable, but slow. Premiere. Over 5 minutes to start. Painfully sluggish. But it exports. Illustrator. The fastest of the three, nearly usable for simple design work. It's not fast, it's not efficient, but it's functional. And that's the real surprise. So how did a 19-year-old processor pull this off? Modern software is heavy, yes, but it's also optimized. Adobe has spent years making Creative Cloud run across different architectures, even weaker systems. Windows 10's compatibility layers help bridge the gap, allowing ancient CPUs to interpret modern instructions, albeit slowly. In essence, what we are witnessing is a marvel of backward compatibility and a testament to Intel's old architecture still being rock solid decades later. We did attempt to open After Effects 2024, but it didn't go well. The system ran out of memory before the project even loaded. So while Photoshop, Premiere, and Illustrator technically worked, After Effects reminded us that every legend has its limits. Here's the funny thing. Using this setup felt both nostalgic and humbling. Every lag, every freeze, every tiny success made you feel the hardware. In a world where we expect instant results, this was a reminder of patience. You could sense the machine working, thinking, pushing. It's slow, sure, but it has character. There's a satisfaction in making something work that shouldn't. So, can a Core 2 Duo run Adobe Creative Cloud 2024? Technically, yes. Practically, barely. Photoshop is usable for simple designs. Illustrator is decent for lightweight work. Premiere Pro, more like a slideshow, but it finishes the job. Eventually. It's not about speed anymore. It's about endurance. This test shows how far we've come, and how well-engineered old hardware truly was. The Core 2 Duo doesn't just run, it survives. We often throw out old hardware the moment it starts to slow down. But this experiment proves that age isn't always obsolescence. Sometimes it's endurance, craftsmanship, and a little bit of magic. The Core 2 Duo may not belong in a modern editing studio, but it deserves respect. It paved the way for everything that came after. And nearly 20 years later, it still runs, fights, and creates. So next time you upgrade your PC and think your old one is useless, remember this test. Maybe, just maybe, that old machine still has a few tricks left. If you thought the Core 2 Duo's survival was surprising, wait till you see what's next. Because in our next retro challenge, we re-asking an even crazier question. Can a Pentium 4 from 2004 handle Windows 11 and YouTube editing in 2025? Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe, because the nostalgia train has only just left the station.